Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off your hot and cold water supplies. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the suspension pads. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or order them from AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the suspension pad bag, you're going to find a set of 3 suspension pads. The main reason you'd be changing out the suspension pads is if they've worn out and you hear metal on metal grinding. There's basically 2 metal plates that ride on these suspension pads, and when they wear out, you'll start to hear the metal grinding on each other. The first thing we have to do is to remove the control panel. It's usually held in place by 2 screws. They're located in either the front or the rear of the control panel. Some models have trim covers that you have to lift off to gain access to the screws, and on other models they have spring clips that you have to slip a putty knife underneath to release them. Once you have your screws out, slide the control panel forward about 1/2 inch and lift it back over the back of the machine. With the console out of the way, we have to go ahead and disconnect the lid switch and remove the 2 retaining spring clips that hold the body to the frame. With a flathead screwdriver, just pry them out. Next, we have to go ahead and remove the body from the frame of the washer. So we have to lift up on the lid and grab the body right here. Put your foot against the body of the machine. Tilt the body back to about 45 degrees and carefully lift it off the washer. Now that you have the cabinet off the washer, you have access to the inside of the machine to change out the part. The first thing we have to do is take the hose off. So go ahead and grab your pliers. Slide the clamp back a little bit. Pull the hose off. To remove the vacuum brake from the frame, you'll notice that the openings are tapered a little bit to the outside. So just grab the lower portion, flex it out, lift it up, and then pull it down so the upper tabs release. To remove the agitator, we have to first remove the fabric dispenser. Our type just pulls right out. You may have the type that has the lift ring that you have to lift off and then pull it off. And it may have a cap underneath that you have to pry off with a flathead screwdriver. So once you get the fabric dispenser and cap off, we can reach down inside, pull out the dust cap if you have one. Now we have access to the inside of the agitator. We can grab our 7/16 inch socket with a long extension and remove the bolt. If it gets stuck and the lower agitator starts to spin while you're turning the bolt, just reach down inside and hold it so it doesn't move. Once you feel the bolt is free of the threads, you can go ahead and lift it out of the tub. Some models, once you take the agitator off, have the little retaining clip and a plastic piece down in here. So just grab your pliers and pull that off, and then lift the plastic piece off. Now that we have access to the spanner nut, we can go ahead and put our spanner wrench on it, tap it off. We can go ahead and remove the tub cover. It's held in by little locking tabs around the outer circumference of the tub. To release these locking tabs, don't just pull up on them, otherwise you may damage the tabs. So put your hand above each one, press down on it, and then release it. There's 8 locking tabs that go around the whole tub cover, so make sure you get them all off before you lift it off. So once you make sure you have them all released, we can go ahead and lift the cover off. Now that we have the tub cover off, we can go ahead and lift the inner basket out. With the inner tub removed from the washer, we can tap up the drive block off the shaft. To make it easier to pull out the outer plastic tub, you may have to put some WD-40 on a paper towel or a rag and wipe off the shaft so the seal slides up on it very easy. We have to disconnect the water pressure air hose. Make sure you watch out for any water. Put a towel down in case any spills out. To remove the hose from the tub, just go ahead and grab the hose clamp, slide it down, and pull the hose off. We have to remove all the suspension springs. There's 4 of them. This one's the counterbalance spring, which we have to disconnect from the frame and then remove from the bracket. Here's the suspension spring. There's 3 of them located around the tub. We're going to grab it with the pliers and pull it off the bracket. Once the springs are off, you can go ahead and remove the 1/4-inch screws that hold on the brackets. To remove the back bracket, you have to put your 1/4-inch nut driver through the back hole and tilt the tub back to line it up so you can get it off. Now that we have everything disconnected, we can remove the tub. Remember, we wiped down this shaft with WD-40 earlier. If your gasket is hung up or is not coming off very easily, you can definitely put some more on there to make it easier. If there's any soap scum buildup, you can take a scrubby pad and scrub it off so it comes off easier. Once you get the tub out, we have to pull the water shield off. It's just clipped into place and comes right off. To get to the 3 suspension pads, we have to lift up on this assembly right here and turn this tray so we can access the 3 suspension pads. So it's kind of heavy. You may want to get somebody to help you, but just lift it up and turn it. Now we have access to these 3 pads. In order to get these out, we have to pry them out with a small screwdriver. If yours are worn out, they may already be missing, so you don't have to do this. But if there's any pieces of the old one left, you have to go ahead and pop them out. Here's the old one next to the new one. If you already have these, great. If not, you can get them at AppliancePartsPros.com. With the old one out, we can install the new one. There is an angle on the bottom. Make sure that goes towards the bottom of the plate. So go ahead and line up the holes and tap it in with your hammer. Now that we have all 3 chains, you can go ahead and lift up on the support section and turn these back underneath. Now that you have it lined back up, we can put the machine back together. Reinstall the water shield. Slide the upper 2 tabs underneath and then carefully put the other ones into place. Replace the inner tub. We can go ahead and lower it down onto the shaft. It may be a little tight, so just wiggle it so it goes down the shaft. Make sure you line the hole up with the hole in the metal shield. And then make sure that the tabs are lined up over here so you can put the screws in. Next, we have to replace the 3 brackets that we took off for the springs. Make sure this little tab goes in that hole and put it in place. For all 3 brackets, they go in the same way. For the back one, stick your nut driver through the back wall, get it on the screw, and then line it up with the hole. Pull the tub down if you have to get it started. Now that we have the brackets back on, we can reconnect the counterbalance spring and the 3 suspension springs. Now that we have the suspension springs all put back on, we can reattach the drain hose, slide it back on, and move the clamp up. Now that we have the lower part of the tub installed, we can go ahead and reinstall the drive block. Make sure that these 2 little notches line up with the notches in the shaft. Make sure when you set it down that it goes all the way down. Now that we have the drive block in, we can go ahead and lower the inner tub down onto it. Now we can put the drive block nut back on. Go ahead and spin it down and grab your spanner wrench and give it a few whacks with the hammer to tighten it down. Make sure you don't hit the porcelain tub with your hammer, otherwise you'll put a big chip in it. Reinstall the two small pieces that we took off earlier. This stud goes down into the drive block space. And this clip just slides down over the shaft. We're going to reinstall the tub cover. This section right here goes towards the back where the vacuum brake goes. So you want to line up the tabs, press them down, and make sure they go over the locking tabs. To reinstall the vacuum brake, hook the upper mounts into the frame and then snap it down into place and then push the bottom in so it locks. Once you have it in place, we can go ahead and hook our hose back up and move the clamp back up to where it sits on the fitting. Reinstall the water level switch pressure hose. Go ahead and just slide it on. Alright, the last thing we have to do is reinstall the agitator assembly and put the fabric dispenser back on in the cap. So go ahead and lower it down into the shaft and grab your bolt with your 7/16 socket with a long extension. Guide it down into the hole and tighten the bolt down. As you're tightening down, if it starts to spin, make sure you grab the lower section and hold it in place. Reinstall your dust cap if you had one. Reinstall the liquid fabric dispenser or cap. Now that we're finished with the repair, we can go ahead and put the cabinet back on the machine. To put the cabinet back on the machine, we do it the same way we took it off. Grab the cabinet, tilt it to a 45-degree angle, and swing it back onto the washing machine. When you're sliding the body back onto the frame, make sure you get the lower lip underneath the frame and then lower it down onto the 4 locking tabs. So just go ahead and hook the clips onto the back panel and with your flathead screwdriver, push them down into place. To close up the console, all you do is rotate it forward over the front of the machine. Make sure the locking tabs lock in place, pull it back about a ½ inch, and replace the screws. Now that you have the machine reassembled, you can go ahead and plug it back in, turn the water back on, and take it for a test spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.